Hi everyone and welcome to GEO Playbook 2026, Winning Visibility in the AI Search Era. So I'm Charlie Bouzreau, I'm an SEO lead here at SEMG, and I'm pleased to have alongside me a technical GEO expert in Jérôme Salomon. Hey Jérôme.
Hello, Charlie. Thank you for the intro. And I'm a new product lead at OnCrawl, and super happy to do this webinar with you today. Hi, everyone.
Cool, looking forward to it. So today, basically, it's going to be a case study mostly. First, we'll discuss the GEO framework, just to give you a sense of how these things work and how you can get started when launching GEO optimization. And we'll end this session with a few pointers on measuring success. So giving you some of the KPIs you should look for, and more importantly, how to find them. Quick word about SEMG. So SEMG is the AI solution that helps marketing teams drive impact and elevate traffic and conversion in no time. So we're an content optimization and platform and content strategy platform as well. We help more than 500 companies, including in industry leaders, not just in France, but in Europe, across all kinds of industries, retail, B2B finance, media, you name it. So if you're serious about content optimization, content strategy, feel free to reach out to us, and one of my lovely colleagues will be happy to book a demo with you. What about OnCrawl?
Yes, thank you. So OnCrawl is a technical SEO data platform for websites. Basically, it's a crawler, log analyzer, and yes, so it's a cloud-based solution built for scalability and connectability. One of the industry leader for large-scale crawling and log file analysis. We've been there since 2015, and we are pioneer in the AI bot monitoring in the logs and using that as a search visibility metric as well. Couple logos as well, companies we work with in Europe and in France, as well on the US market. And yes, let's start with a quick poll.
Yep, a quick poll to get you started. So I'm just curious, how much have you actually invested in GEO last year? So nothing so far. So that the poll should appear on screen somewhere. Nothing so far, just monitoring, just a few experiments, initiatives over several months, or full year strategic commitment. So Tutu, you have the, I don't know if Aurélie is launching the poll. It should appear any minute now. Oh, yes, thank you. Just gonna give you guys a few seconds to take the poll. What about you, Jérôme, at OnCrawl? What have you done last year?
I'm working on building the features, so I'm not doing a geo strategy, but if I speak for our clients, I guess most started geo monitoring, so tracking AI bots at scale, and use that as a metric. And I guess this year will be more about taking action and using that data to find insights and build action plans.
Yeah, I think 2026 is going to be a turning point for many companies. Okay, so up. And the follow-up question.
Yes, so another follow-up question is the level of investments you plan for this year. So no plan at this stage. Like that's the previous, sorry, up. Start geo monitoring, and that's it. Pilot test, roll out ongoing initiatives, or deploy a full-scale geo action plan. So sort of the same logic, but for what's coming this year. and we're probably going to see different results. So we're going to look at the results at the end of the webinar.
Right.
So yeah, feel free to go on the poll tab at the bottom right. If you want to answer, you will find the previous polls, and you still can answer it during the webinar.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see where everyone is at this year. All right, so just a very interesting number to start things off. So we run an analysis across our client portfolio at SMG. So it's across more than 100,000 URLs. And what we can see is content that already generate organic traffic, namely Google traffic, is 11 times more likely to also get traffic from ChatGPT. So which makes a combined SEO GEO strategy essential. It's not a surprise for us, but it's definitely a thing that confirms that GEO is not replaced by SEO, it's amplified by it. And we will see why and how in the GEO framework. So as I said at the start, the goal here is to show you how this works before getting into the actual methodology. Right, Jerome?
Yes, so first concept to understand, and that's key, is the difference between, so when you're using LLMs, if we speak about ChatGPT and Perplexity, not Perplexity, but more like Claude, etc., there is long-term memory and short-term memory. If we simplify, it's like whether the model is going to use training data to answer or if it's going to trigger a live search. And that's where SEO comes in because it's relying on search and it's live retrieval. And this is what we are going to speak about today. On the other side, like long-term memory, the training data, it's hard to influence. Still possible, but yeah. So 3 pillars to scale your visibility. Charlie?
Yeah, so just like SEO, I mean, if you're doing SEO, if you have been doing SEO for years, you know the technical authority and content pillars. So it's really something new, a new discipline, GEO, but we're applying kind of the same recipe with a few changes. So as everything in web visibility, it relies on a good technical basis. So on the technical side, we focus on LLM bot optimization, making sure they can crawl your website and they can extract the information efficiently. Response time is also a big thing, very important. More than ever, a lot of specific error codes. So Jerome will get to that later and explain to you in details which codes you should look for. Structured data is extremely important. And log file analysis, for example, using OnCrawl, is a good way to start improving your visibility. As for content, so here the goal of content is to drive citations and mentions with semantic optimization of your pages, of your content, improving LLM readability with a few techniques we will show you later. You can do reverse engineering on ChatGPT's output, building clusters, topic clusters, things that already work in SEO. They work great for GEO as well, and making sure your GEO and SEO strategies are completely aligned. Finally, for authority, so this is kind of related to the net linking aspect of SEO, but with a few differences. The main difference is it doesn't rely on links specifically, but on mentions overall. Is your brand being mentioned online, on reviews platform, on Reddit, on forums, on social? What about the social sentiment? So sentiment is, well, what people, the general public, think about your brand. It's very important because ChatGPT will use that to infer if your service is good, if your product is good or not. So just like SEO, we have three pillars, and just like SEO, we have offsite and onsite.
Yes, so two different strategies. The offsite part is about building this authority you just mentioned. This is something you can't control, but you can influence. And on the other side is everything you can do on site, just like SEO, technical and content optimization. And this is what you can control. And here the goal is to get citation, is to get LLMs using your content. Switching to the next slide. So just to say that the offsite part is something we are not going to cover today, the strategy, but just to speak a bit about it, you can start with strategic prompt prioritization, sort of doing an AI visibility benchmark to identify the top sources and have like a targeted brand mention and PR campaign. It's like, just like say, it's like a backlink strategies, but specific to mention and specific to the sentiment and how the brand is, how sources are speaking about your brand. So it's also about branding a lot. The on-site part, you start with those AI bots, crawlability audits with the logs, and then you can start building technical optimization. So everything around readability, we'll get into that. Prompt and query fan-out analysis as well is going to be interesting, and metadata optimization, and then content creation or update. Then you measure, you iterate, and will present a use case after that. Something else that in my opinion, is key, and this is what I've been doing the last year a lot and speaking about it, it's really understanding how AI search works. So you know where you can actually optimize. There are some, like I mentioned, influencing the knowledge of a model. It's hard. It's a lot about the training data set. But for the search part, when the prompt is going to trigger a search, you have different steps. And those key steps are the prompt that is transformed into a query fan-out. And then there is a search for each of those query fan-out. There is a SERP aggregation. Then the LLM is going to choose what content to read, and it's going to send a bot to crawl, fetch the page live. And then there is a selection of the content, the citation. And this ends up in the answer. And at each of these steps, you will see during this use case what you can do, what you can optimize for. And here, like I'm speaking about the ChatGPT process. It's a bit different for AI mode, of course, because Google doesn't need to crawl live. But this applies also to Perplexity, Claude. It's a similar process than ChatGPT. So let's get to the use case, the case study.
Yeah, thanks, Jérôme. So let's make this a bit more concrete with a real case study. So we walk you through the process step by step. So from the initial audit to measurable impact on AI visibility. So the goal is to show you what execution really looks like. As Jérôme said, there is on-site and off-site. For this case study, we focused only on on-site. We haven't worked on the off-site part yet, and still we have great results for this client. So a little bit of context. So it's a client in the automotive industry. It's currently under NDA, so we'll use placeholders and example to show you the methods. Basically, what we did is we followed 500 prompts, 300 transactional prompts, 200 informational. And full disclosure, we didn't start from zero with this client. The website already had a lot of SEO-friendly pages, editorial content. They had a blog, and they had content on the product pages. But they weren't necessarily ranking very well, definitely not top 3 or top 5. They had a lot of top 10, top 20 rankings on these pages. And what we did was optimizing them as well as optimizing the whole website for technical sanity. So I'll start right off the bat with the results, and then we'll dive into the methodology later. So as you can see, we had like great success in mention rate and citation share of voice. So time 4.5 in mentions and time 5.5 in citations. I should also mention that when we did a benchmark, a GEO benchmark on these 500 prompts, our client was ranked seventh position among its competitors, and now they're leader. But what's interesting is to really look at the graph because this tells us more about the evolution and the impact of the things we did. So we start with implementation, and what's interesting is we could see immediate impact. We can more or less explain this with maybe the recency bias that ChatGPT has. Maybe Jérôme can develop more about that later, but we know that ChatGPT really loves fresh content, recently published content. Then we had a volatility period, so a period of uncertainty, and then stable growth throughout the end. So this was a 3 months project, which is quite impressive, to be honest, because if you've been doing SEO, you know that this kind of progress, this kind of evolution takes a lot of time in SEO, in traditional SEO. Turns out for GEO, it's very fast. Pretty much as soon as we implemented the technical and content optimization, we started seeing results, and we moved from 17% mention to 70% mention on the 500 prompts. That's for mentions, and for citations, we see more or less the same pattern with a first plateau and then a second plateau and the growth stabilizing over time. So we went from 4% in share of voice to 22%. So that makes the client leader in this industry for this prompt that we tracked. So finally, if we wanted to go deeper in the analysis, so what we did was we clustered all the prompts in 25 core topics. So let's say you're in an insurance company, house insurance, you have 20 prompts about house insurance, you regroup them into a category, and you do that for every topic. If you're familiar, if you already know and use Profound, for example, you might be familiar with this kind of metrics type graph. They're really, really good, really nice to analyze in-depth data. This way we can see that for pet insurance, we're leader, car loan, health insurance, we're leader, but for house insurance, in this specific topic, we still have quite a lot of work to do. But overall, the client is now leader on 17 out of 25 topics, which is great. And as everything in SEO, everything starts with technical basis. So having a good technical foundation is key, especially to improve readability and crawlability by chatbot, LLM's chatbot. And we can start with error codes. Yep.
Yes, like I mentioned, when you see that this workflow, at some point, ChatGPT and others, they need to do this live retrieval. So they need to read the content live to answer somebody's questions, somebody's prompt. At this point, I mean, you need to rank to be in the list of potential content to read for the LLM. But also, if the LLM, the bot, not the LLM, if the bot cannot reach the pages, there's no way you're going to be included in as a citation. You can still be mentioned because you are mentioned in other sources, but not a citation pointing to your website. So server logs is going to tell you uh, what the AI bots get as a response code when they try to read your content. And it might be different from what Google bot sees because of blocking. And we'll illustrate this in the study case. Something I wanted to mention is that since there is this real-time fetching, it's not only about the status code, it's also about performance. And we've seen last year a raise of 499 status code, especially with ChatGPT. This means that the bot interrupted the connection before the server response time, before the server response. So it's like you ask for a page and you close your browser without waiting for the answer. This is mainly because there is a timeout, and also because, like I said, you have different search results. Probably ChatGPT is going to read 4 or 5 pages to answer the question. Is not going to wait for the slowest one. And what you see on this chart is 499 status code by bot for OpenAI only. And you see it's only ChatGPT user that gets this status code. And that's because it's the bot that is used for live retrieval. Others can crawl and can take their time. They don't have this pipeline to answer somebody's question. They don't have this kind of constraint. So yeah, look for the status codes, and let's get into the details. So Charlie, you ran this audit using OnCrawl, right, for your
Yes,
client?
yes, absolutely. So going back to the case study, this is exactly what we've did. So we ran a log file analysis for 90 days. And it turns out that so you can see the different user agents, right? So the first one is Perplexity, no problem. Mistral, no problem. Not many people use it anyways. And but ChatGPT user returned 65% error codes. So it's a huge problem. You mentioned error 499. In our case, we had not that many of those, but a lot of 444 and 504 specifically. Um, and then, of course, we implemented the fix. What we came across in this log file analysis were these 3 errors. So 403, 499, a few of them, and 504. And 2 of them are caused by response time, slow response time. So we did fix them. It was pretty quick, as you can see from the analysis, the on-crawl analysis. As soon as we implemented the fix, pretty much everything was back in green for the ChatGPT bot. So that's the first thing we did, and we could already start seeing results in AI visibility just with that. Another thing that we improved was JavaScript readability. Yeah.
Yes, and so that's the other point. Like, even if the bot is able to get 200 status code, by the way, they're following redirects. So 301 is fine as long as it lands to a 200. But you have this study by Resoneo, Olivier de Segonzac, who tested all the user agents to see if they're able to render the JavaScript. The answer is that it's not. It's very heterogeneous. So it's not consistent across agents. There is a split between JavaScript executors, HTML-only parsers, and Google index-dependent systems. So some of them, they will rely on Google's index, so they can see part of the answer in the snippet. So what you need to do is optimize for the lowest common denominator, which is static HTML. So until every AI bot is able to render JavaScript, you should aim for critical content in the static HTML. That's your no script fallback and ensure clean Google indexing as well. So that's the what you can do, and it's going to evolve for sure. I mean, those platforms, they try to improve the quality of the responses, and it's also improving this RAG system, this live retrieval. So yeah, but just keep in mind that, I mean, key elements needs to be in the HTML.
Yep. And that's exactly what we did. So as you said, try to render this element into static HTML and not just JavaScript. We did that for everything, including images. So this is an example for it's a webcam e-commerce. You have this really good infographics. Problem is ChatGPT can't read it. So what you can do, what we did, was to turn everything into every time we had this kind of infographic, turn them into HTML tables. So you can go technical specification and then try to be as precise as possible in the table, because this is valuable piece of information, and you definitely don't want the LLMs to miss that. That's one thing for readability and extractability. Something else that you can do, and that
Sorry.
we are, yeah. The client already had schema markup implemented on the website. It's been a debate on whether all the LLMs use it. Some might not use it at all. For some of them, we know that they can see it. What I would recommend would be to add the FAQ property type. Defined term is a good one. So basically, whenever you have a definition on your then you can tag it in the defined term schema, which works great. Organization is a big one. Most people have this by now. Main entity is good. Author is also great if your content has been validated or written by an expert. So this was everything for the technical foundation. So if we recap, Jerome, fixing the error codes, making sure the JavaScript is rendered and the images as well are rendered in some ways, and more generally building on structured data on the pages, making sure you have everything readable.
Yeah, basically make sure those bots can access the content, and thus this content is easy to read also for the LLM in the end. But yeah, let's switch to the content optimization. It's also a bit linked to that structuring and readability for LLMs.
Yeah, absolutely. So what we started doing, so as you said, yeah, it's like schema markups and HTML tables. We could put them in the content side as well. What we started with was designing the perfect template. So what we did was running the 500 prompts on a tool. So for us, it was profound. You can do it by hand if you like. You can use different platform. The goal here is to collect the sources, the URL used as sources that perform well on your focus prompts. So we did that. So just to give you an example, what are the best vlogging cameras in 2026? You have this magnificent website called Amateur Photographer. Really like their listicle pages. And you'll see they are cited a lot in a lot of prompts. So once you've identified which URLs are working well, performing well in ChatGPT specifically, you start analyzing them. So what's so great about this page? Well, it starts with a quick list, which is a really great thing. So TLDR, a summary at the end. For them, it's a quick list of the best cameras, like a top 10, before they even start writing the content. And then what I really love is a whole section why you can trust amateur photographer. So basically to improve, raise the EEAT signals. So that's great as well. And then they have sections for each webcam camera, vlogging camera type. So best overall, best compact, best hybrid, mid-range, etc. And for each section, they have the pros and cons, the expert's word with a quote. That's really important as well. An HTML table or bullet points with a technical specification, and then a detailed description. So what you should do is to analyze this for your niche, but not just one page or one site. You can do it for the top, let's say the top 5, top 10 performing URLs. And what you want to do is to build a perfect template. So just you know, bringing together all the ideas and building your own template that gets that the best of everyone. Um, then once you've done that, you need to map your content, right? So what we did was to define which page type worked best for each prompt. Let's say if you have a prompt that's let's say what's the best mortgage insurance, blog posts and listicle will work better. But people looking for an all-inclusive comprehensive car insurance for young driver, you can see a lot of product pages being cited in the source. So it's very important because it will help you map your content and decide which page must be associated with each prompt. We'll get into that later, but we don't really like to say that we optimize a page for a prompt. We optimize a page for query fan out, but a prompt is a good way to get you started because at the beginning you can't really know the query fan out. Another thing that we did was collecting client insights and USP, and this is really important. And I think a lot of people, including a lot of experts, miss that point because the goal is very simple. For every product type, you need to answer the question, why should I buy from you instead of someone else? If that answer isn't clear, AI won't invent it for you. And sometimes we say that, okay, content has to be entirely neutral, plain, factual. This is true, but it has to also be somewhat promotional as long as it is backed by evidence. So what's the gold mine here is if you have awards, certification, accolades, if I don't know, your customer service has been nominated for best customer service 2 years ago, doesn't matter. You just get together with your marketing team, your customer service team, try to see everything that you can use on your product pages. And then you have, just like amateur photographer before, create a section, a dedicated section on your page to highlight this. Another thing that we did was, so we built a fact score. And what we did was getting all the content, the client content, the existing one, into a GPT agent that we built, but you can build it yourself. This is the source. So it's a source from Washington University that created this way of calculating a fact score. And we use that methodology, gave it to AI. And for example, now, whenever we enter a content, it will analyze it and see if the facts are correct or if it's just marketing fluff. ChatGPT, generally speaking, doesn't like marketing fluff and storytelling, these kind of things. So, for example, if you say webcams are plug and play, it's not universally true. So the correct way to put it would be most webcams are easy to install. These kind of things, these are little details, but it will help you create a more factual content. And what we also did was, improved the directness of content by adding statistics, sources, and, building more authoritative sentences. This is an excerpt from a Princeton University paper that shows this. So they analyzed more than 10,000 ChatGPT output, and you can see the relative improvement for everything. So if you add sources, it works great. Statistics are a huge thing, and authority. So the last one you can see. So they replaced the Jaguars have never appeared, blah blah blah, in Super Bowl, 4 divisional title to the name, with more direct sentences. So this is really important as well. And that's in line with
Next slide. Yeah. So I'll read it. So context windows, lost in the middle, mitigation, and chunking strategies. So this is what you need to keep in mind also when you write the content, when you reorganize, when you structure the content. So LLMs are restricted by token limits and context windows. It's true that it really has improved a lot. This context window is far bigger than it used to be. LLMs are trying to solve the problems themselves, so that's why some SEOs say we shouldn't optimize for that. But still, if you expand the context, it's not going to solve the comprehension issue. There is this lost in the middle effect. The attention of the LLM is good at the start of your content, at the end of your content, but it's sort of lost in the middle. So if you want to solve this attention bias, you can put the critical data, important criteria at the top. So that's why you have some TLDR at the top of the articles, a clear structure menu. And in the middle, you can use elements that are easy to understand for LLMs, such as HTML tables, bullet points lists, and put the FAQs at the end also for the attention. And then there is the chunking content. So again, here there are debates about whether it's effective or not. But if we speak about semantic relevance scoring, if you split a paragraph that has different ideas into single paragraph, one single paragraph per idea, and you score the semantic relevance, you'll see that the score are higher, which means it's easier to match the intent if it's structured like this. So basically the idea is to split paragraphs organized by ideas, and yeah, that's how you can structure your content.
Yep. And that's exactly what we did to try to make things more direct. So now if we recap all the content optimization methods that we use on this content, we can cluster them like this. So for readability, we improved the structure and the order, created a perfect template for each category, each prompt category, adding bullet points, HTML tables, lists, a summary at the beginning, improve the chunking with structure sections, as you said, making sure it's one paragraph, one idea, adding some trust signals as well. So as I said, statistics, sources, quotes, using the fact score agent that we created to replace opinions with facts, authorship as well, added Q&A section, the section why buy from us that I showed you before. So just making sure we have a clear value proposition for each product, and also technical vocabulary addition and entity density. So making sure the semantic is richer and a little bit more technical and expert. And that's where things get really interesting because a few weeks ago, so this is what we did 3 months ago, and a few weeks ago, SEMrush just released a study based on 12,000 prompts, and it's really cool because they actually measured these things. So every method and their impact on visibility. And what's interesting is not so much what you see at the tops, because we already kind of knew this clear summarization, EAT, trust signals, Q&A. I mean, this confirms what we already knew. What's more interesting, in my opinion, is the one at the very bottom. So having a non-promotional tone actually get you a negative correlation with visibility. And this is in line with what I told you before with the why buy from us section. Um, so what you should do, as I said, is try to be promotional. You have to sell your service, you have to sell your product, but you just have to do it in an evidence-backed way. So it has to be factual. You have to bring proof that it works. Um, let's say you sell a 50 euro webcam. You can't really say it's the best webcam in the world because you have more higher hands webcam out there. But it could very well be one of the best 50 euro camera. So you have to be precise and accurate in your statement. Well, so now that we have a method to optimize a page, we want to expand and use the query fanouts to see if we have gaps in our content. So what we want to do first is, as I said, make sure we have one landing page for one prompt. So the car insurance landing page, you want to associate it with a prompt. So the prompt could be, how can I get a car insurance quote, for example. Once you did that, you run the analysis and you start collecting the query fan out. If you don't know how to do it, well, basically you can do it manually with some plugins. It's true that we didn't get into these details, but you have extensions, plugins out there. Tracking tools such as Profound PKI also give you the query fan out, and you can use them to expand on your content. So enrich the existing content or create new pages if the existing ones can't really answer this query fan out. For example, the fan out here will be how to get a quote for car insurance UK London. So ChatGPT will add UK and London in the query, or UK car insurance quote process. And process is an interesting term that we really didn't leverage on the page. Once you do that, you can just regroup them and see which query fan out terms are the most frequently used in your niche. So in our case, for insurance, it was UK. So usually the country will be one of the first one. So whatever is the niche or the industry. Then best broker appeared 51% of the time, process, etc., etc. And then Jérôme, you can use this data to improve your content and your metadata as well.
Yes. Maybe I should go back. I'll explain this, but so you want to be read by the bots. Like I said, again, I'm repeating myself. Like there is a stage on this LLM process where the bot needs to read some of the contents, so it gets included in as a citation. Here, what the LLM sees, it's an aggregated SERP from this query fan out, and it includes for every URL, the title, the URL itself, a snippet, and metadata. Optionally, can be the date published. You have here an example. This is something you can actually see if you look at the conversation JSON that is behind in the chat when you use ChatGPT. And this means that first you need to rank in the first place to be visible. But I wanted to state this again. So SEO matters. You need to rank for these query fanouts. And then you need a title and a meta desk that is going to tell the LLM that this page contains the answer. It's true that the snippets mostly rewrite the meta desk, but it's the closest thing you have to sort of optimize for it, push Google or Bing to rewrite the snippet in a certain way, or to use your meta desk if it's fitting. Same titles can be rewritten by the search engine, but I guess it's still useful to rewrite them. There is also the freshness bias. So make sure that date published or date modified are available for the search engine to include it in the search results for ChatGPT to use it. And also, this also says that semantic URL helps because the URL itself is in the SERP and the LLM is using the full text that it sees. So here we have an example with search engine land. It's a guide, and in the URL you can see guide and about log file analysis. So it's the perfect semantic URL. And this URL was crawled and included in the answer as a citation. So yeah, those it's like back to old SEO again.
Yeah.
And it matters just because it's not a ranking algorithm. It's an LLM that is reading text and trying to find and select what should be read, basically.
Thank you. And so as for the case study, we didn't really have to work on this because we already had semantic URLs, but it's definitely, if you don't have them, and I know some CMS can create some weird looking URLs, it's definitely something to improve.
Also, Charlie,
yes.
just to say, don't rewrite your URLs. I mean, SEO matters, so so SEO first, and then if you create new content, then think about the URL itself.
Exactly, but, something to keep in mind for newer content.
Yeah, exactly.
So, just a quick word about SEMG now. Just to tell you everything that I've shown you regarding semantic optimization, content optimization. You can do it with SEMG to save time. So there's two ways to do it. We have the GEO module that reverse engineers ChatGPT's answers and will help you optimize your content by adding expert vocabulary, terminology, all the terms that the LLMs are expecting to find in your content. On the other hand, we have the agent. So we have a GEO expert agent. It's basically one click. You click it, it will automatically rearrange your content, benchmark your content against your competitors, and add bullet points, HTML table, summary, everything to make sure it's. Again, feel free to book a demo if you're interested.
Okay, so now let's switch to the key point: how to measure success in this.
Yep. I'll try to be fast because we're already a bit late. So traditionally for GEO, we see two main KPIs. So that everyone is talking about. The main one is mention. So quick reminders: mention is when your brand appears in the answer, and citation is when you have a clickable link that was used as a source. I like to add some secondary KPIs: position. So where is your brand in the answer? For example, here GoPro is before Insta360. So the order really matters in terms of impact. and the sentiment. Does the LLM recommend using your service or not? But there's more to it.
Yes. But the truth is that, yeah, AI visibility is still a black box. If we speak about AI mode, AI overview, we didn't speak that much about it. But if you go to Google Search Console, there is no filters. It's all merged into the SEO metrics. When it comes to ChatGPT, there is no official data for LLMs. Same for Perplexity, Claude, etc. Good point is that Bing started to give access to AI performance reports, and OpenAI is sharing data to publishers partners. Another key point to understand is data availability at the moment. There is field data and lab data. So field data is real data from actual AI LLM usage. And the only field data we have access to, except for Bing now, comes from analytics tools, so you can track your referral traffic, so clicks in LLMs, thanks to tracking parameters. You can use log analysis to track bot traffic, so those AI bots that come and collect your content. And now with Bing Webmaster Tools, you also have the citations, citation volume, and we'll see other things. And then you have lab data. This is synthetic data. It's just a simulation of AI usage. So prompt tracking, you send a prompt, you send 500 prompts, and you get the answers. This needs to be known that it's not real data. And then there is, so let's speak about prompt-based tracking a bit, the pros and
Yes,
cons.
I think this is the most commonly known one. You might have seen these tools, these new platforms emerge last year or before. Maybe the most famous one is probably Profound. They raised $100 million last year. So they're great because they provide you with really C-level reporting. So if for all your marketing team, it's a great way to analyze visibility in a very digestible manner. They also do daily execution of prompts, which is great. Nowadays, they provide query fan out as well. So it's something actionable that you can use for your strategy. And the prompt must be seen as representative sample. So it costs a lot to track prompts for a 1 year period every day on 7 LLMs, right? So you can really track all the prompts. So what you can do, and the great for this, is use them as just samples of the reality. You know it's not real, and you just accept it. So the cons is obviously it's not real data. So it's the lab data, and it's not even real prompts. It's prompts that you created as representative samples of what your audience is looking for. They're quite on the pricey side, to be honest. So some of them are cheaper than others, but it's definitely an investment. They have underwhelming search volume feature. So I tested pretty much all of them. If you come from SEO, the search volume, you can easily see that the search volume feature for prompts is kind of is really bad. It's I don't know how to put it other way. It's exaggerated. It's based on SEO search volume, but we know for GEO it's much less than that, and it's probabilistic. So ranking doesn't really make sense here. And maybe Jérôme, you can expand on it and explain why and
Yes.
other ways that we can track.
Yeah, just to about this last thing about ranking, you mentioned that the position of a brand in the answer, it's probabilistic because if you try the same prompt over and over, you will not have the same ranking. So ranking are not stable. So in the case study, the metrics you used for prompt tracking, I think they are closer to what people should use. It's like the percentage of inclusion in the answers of mentioning.
Yeah.
So you run this prompt and you sort of make stats, and this is how likely your brand is going to appear. Also, tracking daily prompts doesn't really make sense. Like it's something you should do probably like every week or every month. You don't need to have this update every day since it's changing so much. And there is a lot of also about personalization. But just to say, it doesn't mean that prompt tracking is useless. I mean, we don't have other ways so far to see how the query fan out works, to sort of understand how the LLM understands your product, understand a topic, understand a question, and this is what you can do at scale with this kind of tools. But yeah, keep in mind it's not something that you will use to measure success.
Yep.
On the other hand, I mentioned server log files. So we mentioned it about the auditing part, but it's also useful to measure success. Why? Because those AI user bots, you can use them as proxy for citation. So every time those AI user bots come and visit the page, we told you it's to read the content and to potentially include it in the answer. If you filter that data and only keep answers in status code 200 and 304, you know that they actually reach the content, and you can track this proxy for citation over time. And it's actual real volume of usage. It's real question. And here, I don't know if you see, it's a B2B website, but on weekends, you see that there is a drop of bot activity, just like there is a drop in SEO visit for this website. And this is also a drop in people prompting ChatGPT about this topic that the website is covering. So it's really, there is really a correlation between bot activity and how people use the chatbots, the LLMs. So our approach at OnCrawl is to use first-party data to measure AI search. And so one feature is about AI bot monitoring. We already shown it, so you can track the bots, monitor status code, activity, identify the top crawl pages. And then we built a feature that crosses data with your website crawl. And so you can see the coverage. What part of your website is being used by LLM? What part is being ignored? What is used for indexation bots, citation bots, and what is clicked or not clicked? And you will be able to find a correlation between crawl metrics and bot activity, find opportunities and quick wins, such as missed citation opportunities. So all those bots, they try to read the content, but didn't get the right server error, for example. Yep. And other things you can do with actual first-party data, even if it comes from Google, is dig into Google Search Console. So here you can find signals from AI mode and AI overview, but know also that ChatGPT's query fanout ends up in ChatGPT in Search Console data, because every time because ChatGPT is using SERP API, and here, there are ways to identify this query fanout that ends up in the generating impressions. So you have low clicks or almost zero clicks, high impressions, and average position that nobody checks. Nobody goes to page 4 or page 5, but still you have high volume of impressions. This is because of SERP scraping tools, and ChatGPT relies on some of them, and it's using this API a lot. And then you have also semantic pattern. So you can look for the year. You know that they're adding the year at the end of the query fanout. Cities, countries, evaluative, like best, top, reviews, comparison. So there are ways to sort of find the potential query fanout hidden in your Search Console data. And just to finish with the Bing Webmaster tool, so new metrics. It's for Bing AI and Copilot and partners as well. It's just in beta. You can track citation volume over time. average page getting citation, grounding queries, which is not actually query fan out and it's not a prompt. It's like a mix between them. And it's supposed to reflect the search intent. So it's interesting to dig into that. And page by citation. The thing is that on one hand you have the queries, on the other one you have the page. It's not you cannot see the queries per page.
Okay.
Probably soon. And the data set is not prompt oriented. That's also something interesting that goes into the direction that you should not focus on the prompts anyways. You need to focus on the query fan out more. And can we expect the same for ChatGPT? OpenAI is testing ads and you pay per impressions. This means that advertisers should get analytics. So we can hope for that when there is more usage. And I'm curious about that. And something that it could look like this data leak we had. So I don't know if you came across this. I posted this on LinkedIn. So OpenAI publishers, partners get this type of data every month, the top 1,000 cited URL from the domain. There is no prompt, no query volume. It's just how it appears, how much it's clicked, and exactly where it appeared. Was it in the answer? Was it in the tab of the sources? And was it displayed or just clicked? Just displayed or clicked. So yeah, this might be the kind of data that ends up in ChatGPT Search Console if there is one day.
Hopefully.
Okay, hopefully, yeah. Hopefully soon. Yeah, Charlie.
Going back to this poll. Thanks, Jérôme. So the first poll was about last year. How much have you actually invested in GEO? I don't know if I can just unpublish, edit, delete. Okay, it doesn't appear on screen. So so the best answer was just a few experiments for 34% of the chat, and then it was nothing so far. And we can see a change with the plans for 2026. You want to read the result, Jérôme?
Yes. So on top we have rollout ongoing initiatives, and followed by start geo monitoring. So
people are getting
I guess
on board.
Makes sense.
Yep. As we said, it's this year is going to be a turning point for many companies. I know that we receive a lot of emails from big companies at SMG. I'm pretty sure it's the same for you guys on Crawl. It's a big discussion at the moment, and I think industry leaders now see the potential and the reality of this new market. Okay. Thanks again, everyone. I think we'll end things here. We don't have any question. So sorry again for this technical issue that we had, and thank you so much for bearing with us and staying with us today. Anyways, it's not a big deal. Everyone will receive the replay in their emails, and they can watch it later whenever they have time. Thank you so much, Jérôme. As always, it was very interesting and insightful.
Thank you, Charlie. And for everyone, don't hesitate to reach out for any questions. We can continue the discussion online. Thank you. Have a good day.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye.